Hey everyone, and welcome to Cognito Key. If you've ever put all your love and effort into a garden just to watch your plants look, well, sad, then you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to dig deep into one of the biggest, yet invisible secrets that might be holding your garden back.
I mean, you're doing everything right, aren't you? You give them water, plenty of sunlight, all the care you can muster. But still, something's just not working. The leaves are turning yellow, they're not growing like they should. So, what if the problem isn't you at all? What if it's something happening right under your feet, in the soil?
Well, the number one suspect in this whole garden mystery is something called soil pH. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but trust me, it's actually a really simple idea that could completely change the way you garden forever. Okay, so what even is it? Basically, soil pH is just a way to measure how acidic or how alkaline your soil is. Think of it like a personality test for your dirt. And believe it or not, that one little thing pretty much decides everything for your plants. So this is all measured on a scale, right? It goes from 0 to 14. Right in the middle, you've got 7, and that's perfectly neutral. Anything below 7 is acidic, and anything above it is alkaline. For most soils you'd find in a garden, you're usually looking at a range somewhere between 3.5 and 10. But here is the part that blows my mind, okay? This scale isn't like a ruler. It's logarithmic. What that means is that a pH of 6 is 10 times more acidic than a pH of 7. So a small change in the number is actually a huge change in the soil's chemistry. It's a massive leap. So, as a quick rule of thumb, if you live somewhere with tons of rain, your soil is probably more on the acidic side. That's because all that water washes away the alkaline stuff. And, you guessed it, if you're in a drier area, your soil tends to be more alkaline. It really just comes down to your local climate. All right, so we get what it is now, but that brings us to the real question, the one that actually matters. Why should we care? I mean, how does this number in the dirt really affect our plants? Because it really does seem like such a tiny detail, doesn't it? Just a number. But that one number, that's the difference between your plants getting a full, nutritious meal or literally starving to death, even if you're piling on the fertilizer. Here's the best way to think about it. Soil pH is like a gatekeeper. It stands at the door to the plant's roots and decides which nutrients get in. If the pH is just right, the gatekeeper is happy and lets all the good stuff through. But if the pH is off, that gatekeeper slams the door shut, locking away essential nutrients that are right there in the soil. And for most plants, that happy zone, that sweet spot, is a pH somewhere between 5.5 and 7.5. When you're in that range, the gatekeeper throws the doors wide open to this amazing buffet of nutrients. That's where your plants will absolutely thrive. But what happens when you're outside of that sweet spot? Well, that's when things can go wrong, and fast. And it's not just about your plants missing a meal. The soil itself can actually turn toxic. Let's say your soil pH drops below 5.5. Now it's way too acidic. What happens is the soil starts releasing things like aluminum and manganese in toxic amounts, which straight up poisons your plants. And at the exact same time, it locks away crucial nutrients like calcium and magnesium. So your plant is literally being poisoned and starved all at once. It's a double whammy. Now, on the other side of the coin, if your soil is too alkaline, say above 7.5, you get a whole different set of issues. This time, nutrients like zinc and copper get locked away. And if the pH gets really high, you can get a nasty buildup of sodium. So you see, either extreme, it's just bad news for your garden. Okay, I know that sounds a little scary, but here comes the good news. And it's really good news. You are not stuck with the soil you have. You can absolutely change its pH, and it's nowhere near as complicated as you might think. So let's say your soil's too acidic, and you need to make it more alkaline or raise the pH. Step 1, and this is non-negotiable. You have to test it first to know where you're starting from. Then you just add things like lime or dolomite. You just mix it into the top few inches of soil, and that's it. You're on your way to a healthier garden. And what if your soil is too alkaline? You guessed it, you just do the opposite to lower the pH. But again, what's the first step? Test it. Once you know your number, you can add materials like crushed sulfur or even use certain kinds of fertilizers to bring that pH number back down into that beautiful sweet spot. And you know what's amazing? You don't even need to make a massive change to see a huge difference. For example, a standard application of lime might only raise the pH by about 0.5. I know, that sounds like nothing, right? But remember how powerful that scale is?
That tiny little shift can be the key that unlocks a whole world of nutrients for your plants and completely transforms your garden. Which brings us to what is, without a doubt, the single most important step in this entire process. Before you add anything to your soil, you absolutely must know where you're starting from. You have to test your soil. And you've got a couple of main ways to do this. The easy, quick way is to grab one of those field kits. They're not expensive, they're simple to use, and they'll give you a pretty good ballpark figure right there in your garden. The other option, if you want a super accurate, detailed breakdown, is to send a soil sample off to a professional lab. And this is exactly why testing is so important. You want to catch any pH problems early, because as our research shows, if you wait too long, trying to fix a long-term problem can get really expensive and really difficult. Think of it like a regular health checkup for your garden. It's your best line of defense. You see, your soil is talking to you all the time. The way your plants look, the way they grow, that's its language. And the pH, that's its voice. So the real question is, are you ready to start listening? Well, that's all for this explainer here on Cognito Key. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope this helps you unlock one of the biggest secrets to a much healthier and happier garden. Hey, if you found this useful, it would mean the world to us if you'd support the channel. Go ahead and give this video a like, maybe share it with a friend who loves to garden, and of course subscribe so you don't miss our next explainer. The next time you're out there, remember, don't just look at your plants. Listen to your soil. You'll be amazed at what it has to say.